You can be a normal weight on the scale and still be carrying one of the most metabolically dangerous body compositions there is. Low muscle paired with high fat. It quietly wrecks your blood sugar control, drives inflammation, and sets the stage for chronic pain. All while your BMI looks fine. Let me show you why the scale may be lying to you. I'm Dr. Padda. We've talked about muscle as a healing organ and about visceral fat as an inflammation factory. This episode is about what happens when you have too little of the first and too much of the second at the same time, a condition called sarcopenic obesity. And it's far more common and far more deceptive than most people realize. Here's the concept. Sarcopenia means low muscle mass. Obesity in this context means excess fat. Sarcopenic obesity is having both together. And here's why it's so deceptive. Muscle is dense and fat is light, so a person can lose muscle and gain fat while their weight on the scale barely changes. Their BMI says normal, or only slightly overweight, and everyone, including their doctor, is reassured. But underneath, their body composition has shifted into a genuinely high-risk metabolic state. The scale is measuring the wrong thing. Now, the key mechanism. Your skeletal muscle is the largest site where your body disposes of blood glucose. It's the main glucose sink. After you eat, healthy muscle pulls a large share of that sugar out of your blood and stores or burns it. So when muscle mass and muscle quality decline, you lose your primary system for managing blood sugar. The glucose has nowhere good to go. Blood sugar runs higher, insulin has to spike to compensate, and you slide toward the insulin resistance and metabolic dysfunction. We established at the very start of this series as a foundational driver of pain. Low muscle makes good glucose control extremely difficult, regardless of what the scale or BMI says. And it's a compounding two-sided problem. On one side, you've lost muscle, and with it, the protective anti-inflammatory myokines, the ones we covered earlier. On the other side, you've gained fat, and with it, the inflammatory adipokines like TNF-alpha and IL-6 that visceral fat pumps out. So you're simultaneously losing your anti-inflammatory signaling and increasing your pro-inflammatory signaling. The balance tips hard toward inflammation. For your nervous system and your pain threshold, this is close to a worst-case metabolic setup. And it's invisible to anyone who's only watching the scale. The science here is solid. We've long understood muscle as the primary site of glucose disposal. We know sarcopenic obesity is associated with worse metabolic outcomes, more inflammation, and greater functional decline than either low muscle or high fat alone. And we understand the opposing roles of myokines and adipokines. This is a clear, mechanistically grounded driver, and one that demands we look past BMI to actual body composition. So if you've been told your weight is fine while you feel anything but fine, tired, achy, struggling, your instincts may be more accurate than the measurement. Weight and BMI are crude tools that can completely hide a high-risk body composition. You weren't wrong to feel that something was off. The standard yardstick simply wasn't sensitive enough to show it. The good news is that body composition is something you can genuinely change. So here's what we do. We look past the scale to your actual body composition, muscle versus fat, because that's what drives your metabolic and pain reality. Then we work to shift it, building and preserving muscle through appropriately dosed, progressively loaded movement and reducing visceral fat through the metabolic strategy and nutritional strategy we've built across this series. As muscle returns, your glucose sink is restored. Your insulin demand falls, and your protective myokines come back online. As fat falls, the inflammatory output drops. The composition tips back toward health, and your nervous system finally toward calm. Where pain blocks the movement needed to build muscle, our interventional and regenerative tools open the window to get you started. The number on your scale doesn't tell your story, your muscle does. If you felt unwell while being told you're fine, let's measure what actually matters. Go to painmd.tv and take the first step. I'm Dr. Padda. Let's rebuild your body from the inside out.